It is the last session of the day. We are here with the absolutely juicy ColorStack student panel. ColorStack student panel. Listen up, absolutely. Y'all, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to the one and only amazing ColorStack team member, Nyasha Francis.
Thank you, Michelle Adana, for that warm welcome. Hello, ColorStack community. Happy Friday, everyone. But more importantly, happy Black History Month. So today's student panel is just dedicated to building inclusive spaces on campus. Now more than ever, it is important to create safe spaces on college campuses around the country for underrepresented students. And today we have 3 student leaders who have dedicated their time and energy to doing just that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. First off, we have Nasser Ali. Claps, claps, claps. As a junior computer science student at George Mason University, Nasser is deeply involved in fostering diversity and inclusion within the tech world. She currently holds the roles of president in the National Society of Black Engineers and Minorities in Computing, while also tutoring with EduTutor VA. Her recent internship at Microsoft Xbox further ignited her passion for computing. Through teaching workshops and guiding others, Nasrin is dedicated to inspiring and supporting underrepresented individuals and pursuing rewarding careers in the fields of computing. In addition to school, Nasrin is a model and content creator and enjoys reading, Pilates, and art. Nasrin, thank you so much for being here. Next up, we have Omar, who is the founder of ColorStack at Rutgers, Newark, and an incoming software engineering intern at Slack, period. He previously interned at Scholastic and was part of 2 Sigma's CMC Fellowship. Omar is a first-gen student from Jersey City looking to push the boundaries and help build equity in the tech industry. He's also the co-founder of a nonprofit, Seeds JC, operating in the New York City area to build better communities for people in poverty. Thank you, Omar, for being here. And then last up, but definitely not least, we have Nakaya Vaughn, who is a dedicated computer engineering major at Virginia Tech with a passion for technology and innovation. This upcoming summer, she will be bringing her skills to ABB as a sales engineering intern. In addition to her academic pursuits, Nakaya is the founder and president of the Virginia Tech chapter of ColorStack. Her resume also includes completion of the JP Morgan Career Academy and the AT&T Technology Academy. On top of all her achievements, she's also a published author, which is so cool. Thank you for being here, all of you. So we'll dive right into the questions. I know in all of your amazing bios, I briefly mentioned your positions of the organizations that you guys lead, but I would love if you guys could repeat those. And then in addition to that, I would love to know what inspired you to be a student leader on your campus, specifically one that champions students of color. Anyone can go first.
Okay, I can go first. Hi, everybody. My name is Nasreen. I'm the president of the National Society of Black Engineers chapter on my campus, and I'm also on the National Executive Board as the scholarship coordinator. I would say I was inspired to become a student leader on my campus, especially one that champions students of color, because I wanted to make a change, I wanted to get involved, and I wanted to leave an impact on the school and make changes that will still be there after I'm gone.
I love that, Nasreen. Omar?
What's up, everybody? My name is Omar, as Nyasha introduced me. I'm the founder and VP of a ColorStack chapter in Rutgers, Newark, and we've been running for 3 semesters now. What inspired me to start a chapter at Rutgers was just the need. I saw that a lot of the students definitely had little exposure to like corporate America, little exposure to like jobs and money. And so being at like a HSI and being at a school where it's a lot of minorities, I could see that firsthand. And so just wanting to address that and seeing that there's a way to do it through structure, right? And thank you to ColorStack for allowing me to do that.
Yes. Nakaya?
So I am the president and founder of the Virginia Tech chapter of ColorStack. Like Omar said, I created it for the need. I go to a primarily white institution. So just seeing that a lot of my peers didn't know each other or didn't know how to interact with each other, and just being able to create a community like that was really important to me after I saw what ColorStack did for me personally. So to bring that to my campus is very rewarding.
I love that, you guys. Y'all all just like saw the need and was like, I'm gonna be the one to fulfill that. So shout out to y'all. I'm curious, just reading your bios, it's clear that you guys are all like extremely accomplished students, and um, early career professionals. Like, what's it like balancing everything that comes with being a student? Like, you guys have homework, classwork, finding internships, all of that, but you're also a student leader. Like, what's it like balancing it all?
It's definitely a challenge. I would say it kind of works for me though, because I feel like I really have to be busy to feel like I'm actually doing anything. So it's really just a matter of like making sure that I'm scheduling things right and like planning accordingly to make sure that I have time for everything. But it's very busy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I wouldn't be anywhere without my Google Calendar. I have to schedule everything to a T. And I'm also one of those people, like, if I'm not busy, I feel bored, you know? And like, it is hard, but it's also really rewarding.
Yeah, I definitely resonate that when I was in college. Whew, very long time ago, but also not really. I also always had to stay busy because if I wasn't, then I was doing other stuff that's not great. So it's definitely good to stay busy with like productive stuff. Omar, did you want to add anything or we can move? All right. Next question. What have been some of the challenges that you faced as a student leader on your campus, whether external from like administration or internal, within your own like organization?
Yeah, I think I'll start this off. One of the biggest challenges I found is like getting students involved. I think when you're targeting certain demographics, right, especially at my school where a lot of us are coming from like blue collar homes, right, and we don't know anything about the corporate world and the importance of like getting these opportunities. We're just typically not great students, not in the sense that we're not smart and we're not capable, but a lot of people have a lot of different things going on. And so we're usually not the most dedicated in a sense. And so to convince people to like, hey, take a few hours out of your Thursday or your Tuesday to come be part of this computer science club, it kind of sounds nerdy, right? And most people are not trying to do that. So I think that was the biggest struggle at first is like building that personal relationship with people and telling them, hey, like it's gonna be a good time. We're building the community together, right? Don't think of it as like, oh, I have to go to this tech club. Nah, think of it as like I'm going to be with my friends, be with my boys, and we're gonna have a good time.
That is so real. Thank you for sharing, Omar. Did you have anything to add?
I can definitely agree with the part about getting people involved. Before I became president, our NESB chapter is pretty much dead. So it's just been me trying to revive it and also build companies with relationships so that I can bring opportunities to our students. But in addition to that, I actually just got to have a meeting. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about this, but in Virginia, our governor has done like the same thing they did in Texas, where they're starting to take away DEI initiatives and funding for that. So all of the Black identity-based organizations on campus just had a meeting about how we are going to like basically how we're going to move on with no funding and how we can like self-sustain ourselves. So that is going to be an upcoming challenge.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate you for sharing that because like even as I'm looking at the Q&A right now, like there are students in Florida who like have the same concerns. So I really appreciate you for like sharing that. Did anyone else want to add anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I resonate with the problem to reaching students. Everyone is so busy, everyone has classes that I really have to make sure that I make the event worth it for someone to maybe give out some time to study to come and learn something new.
Yeah. Honestly, everything y'all saying is so real because even as community manager of like the national organization of ColorStack, it can be tough. Like, even with Fan Friday, right? Like, you can promote it and everything, but you can't force people to come. So it's really about like showing the value that you have to offer, maybe having some incentives, and just cross your fingers that people show up. All right. So next question. We've talked about, some of the difficulties and challenges, but I'm really curious, like, what have been some of your like biggest achievements as a student leader or your proudest moments on campus?
So yeah, I have like a relatively new club, but I will say just seeing the amount of people I'm reaching and seeing my stats and knowing that I'm reaching so many women has been really nice to see. Like they are excited, they're willing to come and learn some new technical skills. So that's my biggest achievement right now.
Dope. Congratulations.
Yeah, I can agree. I think the biggest achievement, other than the turnout, we've had some events where it's like 50 people more. We've had guest speakers from last week. We had a software engineering manager from LinkedIn. We have a software engineer from Uber coming in a few weeks. So those are really big. But the biggest thing is just seeing the turnaround and the shift in some students. So just to give you guys some context, like this is how bad it is. I know people that are juniors and seniors and don't know what a leak code problem is, right? So if you think you're fighting an uphill battle at your school, like I'm fighting the battle of battles, right? And so
Yeah.
to go from that to seeing students that now are like, yo, I got an internship at AWS, I got an internship here and there. So seeing just how much of an impact you really can have, I think is really inspiring.
That is so amazing, Omar. Congrats on all the work that you're doing. Your whole e-board, like seeing some of the photos, because I do follow y'all Rutgers chapter on Instagram, of all your events and stuff. It's just really dope. Nasreen, did you want to share anything?
Yes, I can like agree with what both of them said, but I can also say I think one of my proudest achievements has been creating a safe space where students feel like they can be themselves and find community, and also bringing opportunities to students that they might not have known about or otherwise might not have had. I just like to see everybody win. So I would say that's one of my proudest achievements.
Yes, that is such a dope like attitude to have. Like you just want to see everybody win. And I think a lot of ColorStack members can like agree with that. And as community manager, I want to see every single one of y'all win for sure. All right, so next up, in your personal experience, what do you feel like is the most important trait for a student leader to have?
I would say the ability to be flexible. Sometimes nothing ever goes to plan, like ever. So if you're not able to adapt and create a new solution or just create a new, like, create a new solution, nothing really is going to work out for you.
That's a fact.
I would say having good communication skills.
Nice.
I got two. I would say one is more technical, but like organization, right? Of like being actually to like use your calendar and take good notes, which ties in with like communication, like Nasreen said. And then the second thing is just you have to really be like for the people. Like you have to be out there. You have to be willing to like talk to people because once you step out there, people are gonna be hitting you up. People are gonna be stopping you on campus to talk. People are gonna come, whether it's good or bad, you're gonna face it. So having that understanding that be a little selfless and be ready for it.
Nice. I loved everything y'all had to say. All right, I have one more question for y'all before we get to audience Q&A. But what advice would you give somebody who wants to be a student leader on their campus?
I would say just do it. Stop thinking about it. Just you're gonna hit the ground running and you're gonna be so happy that you did it.
Mm-hmm. Like Nike, just do it. Period. Anyone else?
I was gonna say the same thing. Just do it, but also make sure that you want to do it for the right reasons. And yeah, that's what I would say.
That is so real. Like doing stuff for the right reasons is so important. I remember when I was in college, there was like a lot of people who like clout chase based off of titles and stuff. So like make sure that at the end of the day, this is something you genuinely want to do. Like if you want to see like Black and or Latinx like students succeed, like this is for you. But if you're just looking for something to put on your resume, like you're not really gonna do it great. So don't even, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the why is really important. And if you're gonna start something from scratch, like if you're gonna build a color stack, for example, like you need a core group. Like get like 2, 3 of your close friends, and
Mhm.
that way it's fun, right? That way it's like you guys can encourage each other, push each other, and also at the same time you're just hanging out with your friends. So it's a win-win situation. If it goes well, it goes well. If not, you got to build these relationships and build these connections.
Exactly. Having a solid team is so important. And just to add on to that, it's like, you know, even if you're a president, you can't do it all by yourself. Or even if you're a founder, like you're still gonna need, other people, like a solid like e-board to like be that backbone. So find people who like care. Like Omar said, like find your friends, like make it something that y'all all want to do so you have something, that y'all created together. Thank y'all for answering my questions. Now I'm going to pop onto the screen some of the questions that our audience members have. All right. Show on stage. So, how does ColorStack stay informed about the latest trends and needs in tech education for Black and Latinx students? I guess I can quickly like say something if they're looking like from like on the national level, and then if you guys have more to add, you can feel free to say something. I'll just say like as community manager, I just like to read up on like like TechCrunch or like all the like I listen to the tech podcasts as well, just keeping up on trends, hiring trends, but also like layoffs and all that stuff. And the team just tries to use all that information to support you guys accordingly. Do you guys want to add anything based on like your personal experiences? If not, no worries. Okay, we can just pop to the next question then. Florida here, where the state government is actively trying to suppress DEI initiatives and student initiatives. What advice would you provide for someone trying to create inclusive spaces in an environment like this? Nasreen, I know you spoke to this a little bit, but if you wanted to like add on, I'm sure this person would love to hear.
Yeah, I can do that. So I would say try to start building community with the other DI organizations on campus. One thing that we also talked about was reaching out to alumni chapters or alumni of your organization, because more than likely they will be willing to help. And try to find ways that you guys can like self-sustain. So whether that's like using whatever resources you guys have now to get ready for next year or even for the rest of the semester, I would say do that.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing. How do y'all measure the success of the inclusive spaces you build, you're contributing to on campus?
Yeah, I think I'll take this one. Just witnessing like people come, people show up. Are people happy when they're showing up, right? Because as a college student, like if I'm not gonna have a good time, I'm not gonna show up. So just the fact that people are showing up and are engaged, and then also you can kind of just read the room. Like you can see like, okay, people are having a good time, they're enjoying themselves, and people are starting to step out of their comfort zone a little bit, maybe asking questions. And recently, a lot of just regular members have started to like share their own experiences. So I think that's really a good gauge, is just see how much engagement there is.
Mm-hmm. Either one of y'all want to add on?
No, I totally agree with everything he said. It's just seeing everyone excited, hearing that other people are talking to their friends about it. There's something like, yeah.
All right. Next question. How does the intersectionality of different identities play a role in your work on inclusivity? So think about race, gender, I'm trying to think of the word, sexual orientation, religion, anything like that.
I would say that it kind of gives me a wider perspective and it allows me to bring my experience to the table to kind of help make changes.
Nice. All right, we have time for a few more questions. How do you find opportunities in the community for your local chapters?
Okay, so finding opportunities is it's not easy, right? Especially if like I know at my school the department doesn't help us at all. Like we get very little funding. Like you the school does not really benefit us at all, right? We're also a small school from like a tech side. There's not a lot of like engineering, and so a lot of it is just us putting in the hard work. And I started to realize before I started the chapter that I was building my own brand, right? So I was reaching out to recruiters, I was networking and building connections with people. And then I realized like, hey, like if I'm doing this for myself, I can do it simultaneously for like all of my peers by just doing it through a ColorStack chapter. And so the people that I met through like Afrotech or like if you go to Nesby and you build personal connections with them, you can leverage those connections so that when you're looking for sponsorship or you want to do an event, you can reach out to them, right? And so a lot of it, if you do have opportunities from your school, that's great. If not, just be active. And if you don't benefit from it from like your club side, you're gonna benefit from it from a personal level because people are gonna know you. People are gonna realize like, oh, I know this kid. They work hard, right? And so that'll open doors for you.
Absolutely. I know it's something that, like, when I was in college, I kind of got tired of hearing, but y'all, networking is so freaking important. Like, there's so much power in networking, especially like in a state like this where like layoffs are like happening like so frequently. Knowing the right people can really like get your foot in the door when you want to interview, but also getting opportunities on your campuses. I know anytime I speak to a recruiter, like on a professional to professional level, and I'm talking about ColorStack, they're like, "Do you know Omar?" I'm like, "How does every recruiter I know also know Omar?" Like, that's crazy, but that just goes to show like networking, talking to people, connecting with them on LinkedIn, like it's really powerful stuff. All right, another one. What long-term impact do you hope to see from the inclusive spaces that you're building on your campuses?
I would just love to see like a change in the community. I know so many CS students, and if you ask them like, how's it going? How are you? They're just they're working alone. They don't have any friends in their major. They don't have time to make friends in their major. So I'm hoping that I just change the culture of being a computer science student or just an engineering student at my school.
Nice. I love that. 9 times out of 10, if you ask somebody like, what do you think a computer science student looks like? They're not going to say like a Black person or, even a woman or anything like that. So it's really cool that you guys, like, there's really going to be long-term impact for all the work that y'all are doing just by creating these spaces and empowering people to complete their degrees, to, get the internships, to land the new grad roles, because it's really going to change like how people see engineers, software engineers, and like product managers in the future. All right, I think we have time for like one more question, and I would love if you guys could all answer this one. Can you share your vision for the ideal inclusive campus environment?
Yeah, I can go first. I would say that the ideal inclusive campus environment would be one where everyone feels heard and seen. I would say I would want it to be more like a family than like a campus organization or something like that. It would be a space where people know that they can come for help and that they can rely on everybody in the organization, and someplace that doesn't just like take, but also like gives back to the community.
Love that.
Yeah, just somewhere that everyone feels comfortable to bring their full self and just find like-minded people, and that they know that we're a space that they can lean on or to like take the weight off.
Okay,
like that.
so I'm all for the vibes, right? And I'm making sure everybody's happy, having a good time. But I think my vision, right, on top of that is like in a few years, the inclusivity, right, and like the diversity, you could see it in a tangible way that like, okay, all my peers, all my friends that were with me in Nesby and ColorStack, they all have jobs, right? Because at the end of the day, that's kind of like the end goal is like we're all trying to get a job. You want to be in that big tech role. So after we build on top of like the vibes and everybody's comfortable, like my vision is everyone succeeding, right? And are people doing well? Because that's going to be a trickle down effect, right?
Exactly. All right. I know. Remember when I said this was the last question? That was a joke. LOL. We actually have 5 more minutes. So that means we have time for a few more questions. And I know one we saw in the chat that isn't necessarily in the Q&A is, how do you deal with rejection? And that can be like on the student leader front, or it can also just be like as a student in college trying to get a job.
I would say I just keep it pushing. You're not gonna like get everything that you want or everything that you apply to, and it is hard. And I do obviously get sad at first, but ultimately I realized like I feel like if something was meant for me, I would have it, and if I don't, then that's okay, and there'll always be something else.
Exactly. That's even an attitude that I hold till this day. So it's good that you have that in your back pocket.
Yeah, for me, you know that term, nothing easy is worth doing. That's kind of what I use to get myself through it. Nothing easy is worth doing. It's going to take a couple tries, a couple fails, and every failure, there's something new to learn, something new to improve on.
Period. All right. Thank you guys so much for adding to that. Let's see. This looks like a good one. How, in your personal experiences as campus leaders, can student-led inclusivity initiatives influence university policy and administration's decisions? If you have anything to add to that.
Okay, I'll take it. I think it depends on like your school, right? Because like more private universities, it's going to be harder to get them to budge on things. But if you're talking about like you go to your public school, your state school, or any school really, like the school revolves around the students, right? They need students. And so if you can get enough students to lobby for something, people at least have to listen to you. And don't get caught up on like the now, right? Sometimes it takes years. So maybe something you do in 2024, maybe the students in 2030 will benefit from it, right? But because the administration has been seeing it, has been listening to it for 10, 15 years, right? So then eventually it'll begin to like break people down. But yeah, definitely just if you can get a lot of students, I think the sheer number is like really important.
Yeah. Like Omar said, like there's like a lot of power in like numbers, and at the end of the day, students are their customers. Like y'all tuition is what makes the university run. So if y'all can like rally enough people, then they kind of like will have to answer to you. I know in recent years there's been more extreme cases. Like at Howard University, there was a whole like protest where students weren't even going to classes, and they all lived in this one like student center because they wanted repairs and stuff. And you know, a lot of times there's like less extreme cases like that, but regardless, like if you make your voices heard, they will listen. So yeah, that's my little nugget of advice. Okay, now this is the last question, for real, no takes backsies. All of you guys have such extensive and amazing backgrounds, I agree, and skills. What do you think has been the driving reason why you're like where you are now?
I would say that I have 2 reasons. I think one, I know what I want and I know what I have to do to get what I want. And second, my community. I would not be anywhere without my community and everyone that has helped me along to where I am today.
Period. Thank you, Nasreen.
Yeah, for me, I know where I would like to be in life, and I know that these are the stepping stones are needed. And I don't really want a plan B or a fallback. I want to do what I want to do.
per. Last but not least, Omar.
Yeah, I think just to touch on it, like don't get caught up on like other people and like their backgrounds. So like my LinkedIn, you might look at it like, oh, he's killing it. Before all that, there was a time in my life where like I wasn't in school and I was working at the local jail. So like you really don't know everyone's path. So it's just about your path. I think like experiences that you have, like pick something from your childhood, something from your struggle, right? Maybe you grew up in a bad neighborhood. Like pick up your why and run with it. So if you know that, yo, I grew up, I was in the hood, like I'm not trying to go back, right? So that's your why, take it and run with it. And it's going to give you an advantage over a lot of people, especially like in tech where people are coming from privilege. Like you're going to be showing up to work every day happy because you're happy with where you are and where you came from. And there's going to be people that hate their life and hate their job. And you're not going to be that person.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Something that I constantly have to remind myself and like gives me peace is like comparison really is the thief of joy. So like Omar said, like don't go on people's like LinkedIn's thinking, oh my God, I wish I was them, or like why do they have XYZ internships? Like find your unique why, the why that is just yours and yours only, and use that to really fuel your actions. Like you can look at people as inspiration. You can ask them like for help, but don't think, oh my God, I wish I was them. Because you don't even know the circumstances they went through. Like everyone has their own path. So just follow yours. But thank you guys so much for being on this panel and sharing your bits of advice and wisdom with the community. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to them. Audience, if you're like wondering about ColorStack chapters, you can find the chapters section on our wiki at wiki.colorstack.org. We have a really cool programs manager, Johanna, who is in charge of all things chapters. So you can find the link to where a ColorStack chapter is in the country, all their social medias, and then you can also fill out an interest form if you're interested. But without further ado, that is all we have. Okay, there she is.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let's give it up for the Hey, let's give it up for the ColorStack panel, student panel. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Thank you so much for sharing about, how ColorStack has helped you. How has it, changed kind of your life and changed the life of other folks on your campus. Thank you so much for sharing. Y'all, with that being said, that was our last session of the day. That was our last session of the day. Stop. Y'all, thank you so much for being here today. I hope you are proud of yourself because you absolutely did that. Okay, you came in here, you invested in yourself, you put energy into yourself, you got all these tools in your toolbox, and look at you walking away bigger and better and stronger than ever before. So with that being said, thank you for attending. Make sure you fill out our Fan Friday feedback form, which should be right there in the chat. And giveaway winners will be emailed next week following the event, so you can redeem your prize. Before I go, I wanted to just ask, what was our favorite part of the day? What was our favorite part of the day? Can you tell me? Can you tell me in the chat what was our favorite part of the day, y'all? Okay, NVIDIA, student panel, NVIDIA, Samsara, everything, Samsara, tough choice, absolutely, absolutely. Y'all, at the end of the day, y'all got the information. Y'all got the network. You can do it. Y'all can literally do it. I know it's February. I don't even know where you guys are with your semester, but y'all could do it. Stay in your vision, understand what your goals are, and make sure you're taking care of yourself and your community throughout all this time. Thank you so much. Remember to follow ColorStack on Instagram as well as on LinkedIn, and follow me, Michelle Adana, as well on Instagram or TikTok, and and thank you so much. We will see you all in March for the March Fan Friday. Thank you so much. Make sure to keep in touch with other folks that you met here today. And if you have any questions, reach out to the ColorStack team. Thank you so much. Y'all, have an amazing weekend. Happy Pisces season. I'll see you on the other side of it. Bye.